Shedeur Sanders just did his first interview since turning down $40 million, and what he said is going to shock everyone who thought he made the biggest mistake of his life. No remorse, no second guessing, no apologies. Instead, Shedeur looked directly into the camera and explained exactly why walking away from guaranteed generational wealth was the smartest decision he could have made. And the details he revealed about what was really in that contract offer are absolutely insane. The team that made the offer wasn't just trying to sign him early, they were trying to own him, control every aspect of his career, and trap him in a situation where he'd have zero leverage for years. And the proof Shedeur just provided, actual contract language that his lawyers saved, shows clauses so restrictive that legal experts are calling it one of the most exploitative offers ever made to a draft prospect. But here's the really explosive part. Shedeur also revealed that 3 other teams made similar offers, that this is a widespread practice across the NFL, and that he's now working with the Players Association to expose the entire scheme and protect future rookies from being manipulated the same way. February 14th, 2026. Shedeur Sanders sits down for an exclusive interview with a major sports network. It's his first public appearance since the story broke about him rejecting a $40 million pre-draft contract offer. The sports world has been debating his decision for 2 weeks. Some called him brave, others called him foolish, but nobody knew the full story until now. The interviewer starts with the obvious question. Shedeur, you turned down $40 million guaranteed dollars. A lot of people think you're crazy. Do you have any regrets? Shedeur doesn't hesitate. He leans forward, looks directly at the camera, and says something that immediately goes viral. Zero regrets, not even for a second. And when people see what was actually in that contract, when they understand what those teams were really trying to do, they'll realize I didn't turn down $40 million. I protected my entire career. That statement sets the tone for the next 30 minutes, and what Shedeur reveals is going to change how people understand the NFL draft process forever. Let me take you through what Shedeur explained in this interview, because every detail exposes a darker side of how NFL teams manipulate young players before they even enter the league. Shedeur started by addressing the basic facts that have already been reported. In late January 2026, representatives from an NFL team flew to Colorado and met with Shedeur and his father, Dion. They presented a contract offer. 4 years, $40 million guaranteed, with a $12 million signing bonus paid immediately. On paper, it sounds incredible, life-changing money for a 22-year-old who hasn't played a single NFL snap. But Shedeur explained why he immediately knew something was wrong. The first red flag was that they wanted me to sign before the draft even happened, Shedeur said. They kept saying it was to give me security, to guarantee I'd have money no matter what. But that didn't make sense. Why would a team offer me $40 million guaranteed if they weren't even sure they could draft me? That question led Shedeur's legal team to examine the contract carefully, and what they found was shocking. According to Shedeur, the contract included a clause that said if any team other than the offering team drafted him, the $40 million would be void and Shedeur would receive nothing. But if the offering team did draft him, Shedeur would be immediately bound to the contract with zero ability to negotiate better terms. They were trying to lock me in before I had any leverage, Shedeur explained. If they draft me and I'm already under contract, I can't negotiate based on where I'm picked, what other quarterbacks are making, or what my actual market value is. I'm stuck with whatever they offered in January. But it gets worse, much worse. Shedeur revealed that buried in the contract was language that gave the team unprecedented control over his off-field business activities. According to the terms, Shedeur would have to get written approval from the team before signing any endorsement deals, making any media appearances, or participating in any business ventures. They wanted approval over everything, Shedeur said. My dad's media company would need team approval. My social media partnerships? Team approval. My personal brand? Team approval. They were essentially trying to own me, not just employ me. Legal experts who reviewed the language that Shedeur's team provided to the network confirmed that these clauses were extraordinarily restrictive, far beyond what's typical in rookie contracts. Sports attorney Darren Heitner told the network, "I've never seen a rookie contract with this level of control over off-field activities. Standard NFL contracts have some restrictions, but this goes way beyond. This is a team trying to monopolize a player's entire earning potential, not just football salary." But it gets worse, much worse. Shedeur revealed that buried in the contract was language that gave the team unprecedented control over his off-field business activities. According to the terms, Shedeur would have to get written approval from the team before signing any endorsement deals, making any media appearances, or participating in any business ventures. They wanted approval over everything, Shedeur said. "My dad's media company would need team approval. My social media partnerships? Team approval. My personal brand? Team approval. They were essentially trying to own me, not just employ me."
The contract purportedly included language that said if Shedeur suffered a significant injury, defined loosely as any injury requiring surgery or causing him to miss 4 or more games, the team could void the remaining guaranteed money and release him with minimal financial consequences. "So let me get this straight," Shedeur said during the interview. "They want me to sign for $40 million guaranteed, but if I get hurt, which happens all the time in football, they can just void the guarantee and I'm left with whatever I got up to that point? That's not guaranteed money, that's fake security." Insurance experts interviewed by the network confirmed that injury voiding clauses are sometimes included in contracts, but they're usually only triggered by career-ending injuries, not routine football injuries. The version in Shedeur's offer was far more favorable to the team than the player. When the interviewer asked Shedeur what made him decide to reject the offer, his answer revealed the moment everything clicked. "It was my dad," Shedeur said. "He sat me down and said, 'Son, I know $40 million sounds like a lot of money, but you're worth more than that. And more importantly, your freedom is worth more than that. These people are trying to control you before you even get to the NFL. Don't let them.'" Shedeur Sanders, who was present during the interview, confirmed that conversation. "I've seen this game played before," Shedeur said. "Teams try to scare young players into thinking they might not get drafted high, might not get big money, so they should take whatever's offered. But Shedeur is a first-round talent. He's going to make way more than $40 million over his career if he just trusts his ability and doesn't let fear make him accept a bad deal." But here's where the story takes an even more explosive turn. Because Shedeur revealed that the team that made the $40 million offer wasn't the only one trying this tactic. According to Shedeur, he received similar pre-draft contract offers from 3 other NFL teams between December 2025 and February 2026. The terms varied slightly, but the structure was the same. Sign now, lock in a specific dollar amount, forfeit negotiating leverage, accept restrictive clauses, and hope you don't get injured or drafted by someone else. "This isn't one rogue team doing something shady," Shedeur said. "This is a coordinated strategy across the league. Teams are trying to exploit the rookie wage scale and the draft process by locking players in early before they have representation or leverage." The rookie wage scale, implemented in the 2011 NFL Collective Bargaining Agreement, was designed to control how much teams pay draft picks. Each pick slot has a predetermined salary range. In theory, this protects teams from overpaying unproven rookies. But according to Shedeur, teams are now exploiting the system by making pre-draft offers that sound generous but are actually below what a player would make if they were drafted in the same slot and negotiated properly. "The team that offered me $40 million, if I get drafted where I'm projected, somewhere in the top 10, the rookie wage scale for that slot would give me closer to $50 million over 4 years, plus better guarantees and fewer restrictive clauses," Shedeur explained. So they were actually trying to get me for a discount by making it seem like they were doing me a favor. This revelation sent shockwaves through the NFL community. If what Shedeur is saying is true, if multiple teams are making pre-draft offers designed to circumvent the rookie wage scale and extract value from players who don't know better, it could be a massive scandal. The NFL Players Association released a statement within hours of Shedeur's interview, saying they're launching an investigation into pre-draft contract practices. NFLPA Executive Director Lloyd Howell said, "If teams are making offers to undrafted players that violate the spirit of the rookie wage scale or include exploitative terms, we will take action to protect our future members." But Shedeur didn't stop there. He also addressed the criticism he's faced for turning down the money, particularly from people who said he's privileged and out of touch because he can afford to reject $40 million. "I get that $40 million sounds like an insane amount of money to turn down," Shedeur said, "and if I was in a desperate financial situation, maybe I would have felt pressured to take it. But I'm fortunate that my family is financially stable, my dad has resources, and I don't need to make a panic decision out of fear. That's a privilege, and I recognize that." But then Shedeur made a point that resonated with a lot of people. "The reason I'm talking about this publicly is because I want other players, especially guys who don't have the same resources I have, to know they don't have to accept bad deals just because they're scared," Shedeur said. "Teams use fear as a weapon. They make you think this might be your only chance at real money. But if you're talented enough to get a $40 million offer, you're talented enough to get drafted and make even more by negotiating properly." That message, that refusal to let fear dictate decisions, is exactly what Dion has been teaching Shedeur his entire life. And it's why the Sanders family has become so polarizing in the NFL world. They refuse to play by the unspoken rules that keep players submissive and controllable. The teams that made offers to Shedeur have not been publicly identified, and Shedeur's legal team has advised him to not name them to avoid potential defamation lawsuits. But NFL insiders are already speculating based on which teams are picking in positions where they'd need Shedeur to fall to them. According to sources, the teams most likely to have made these offers are franchises picking between 12 and 20 in the first round who desperately need a quarterback but don't want to trade up to get one.
These teams see the pre-draft offer strategy as a way to lock in a player early, suppress his draft stock by creating uncertainty about where he'll go, and ultimately draft him at a discount compared to what they'd pay if he was a consensus top 10 pick. But Shedeur's decision to reject those offers and go public with the details has disrupted that strategy. Now other prospects know what to look for. Agents are warning their clients about pre-draft offers, and the NFLPA is investigating whether league rules were violated. The impact on Shedeur's draft stock is still unclear. Some analysts think his willingness to reject $40 million and bet on himself will make teams respect his confidence and business savvy. Others think it's made him too controversial, too difficult, too much of a risk for teams that want compliant rookies. Mock drafts released after Shedeur's interview show him anywhere from 5th overall to falling out of the top 15. The uncertainty is real, but Shedeur seems completely unbothered by it. "I'm going to get drafted," Shedeur said near the end of the interview. "I'm going to play in the NFL, and I'm going to prove that I made the right decision by becoming one of the best quarterbacks in football. That's all that matters to me." Dion, sitting next to his son, added one final comment that perfectly summarized their mindset. "People called me primetime because I showed up when it mattered most," Dion said. "My son is going to show up when it matters most. And 20 years from now, when he's got a Hall of Fame career and financial freedom because he didn't sign his life away for $40 million, everyone's going to understand that this was the right move." The interview ended with Shedeur holding up a document, the actual contract offer he rejected.
He didn't show the camera all the details, but he held it high enough for everyone to see it was real, that this wasn't just talk. "This is proof," Shedeur said. "This is what they tried to make me sign, and I said no, because I know my worth, and I'm not letting anybody control my future."
That final image, Shedeur holding up the contract he rejected, became the defining visual of the entire interview. Within hours, it was a meme, a symbol, a rallying cry for athletes who refuse to be exploited. As of right now, February 14th, 2026, the fallout from Shedeur's interview is still unfolding. The NFLPA investigation is ongoing. Teams are scrambling to figure out if any league rules were violated, and the draft, just 2 months away, has become even more unpredictable. But one thing is certain: Shedeur Sanders just changed the conversation about rookie contracts, pre-draft manipulation, and player empowerment. Whether that helps or hurts his draft stock, only time will tell. Shedeur Sanders has no regrets about turning down $40 million. And after hearing what was actually in that contract, it's clear he made the right choice. The exploitative terms, the control clauses, the fake guarantees, all of it proves that teams were trying to manipulate him before he even entered the league. Now Shedeur has exposed the scheme, the NFLPA is investigating, and the entire draft process is under scrutiny. Whether this costs him or elevates him, Shedeur bet on himself and refused to be controlled. And that's a story that will define his career long after draft night.